We ended the last chapter on a hard sentence. The love that wins the world. Love for the unlovely, for the enemy, for the people who can do nothing for you in return, is expensive. It is so expensive that it got the only man who ever loved perfectly nailed to a cross. And the bride, we said, should not be surprised to find her own road to her throne running straight through the same ground as did. This is the part of the journey the brochures leave out. So let us face it honestly. The made-up mind has one deep, reflexive instinct when it looks at the cross. Get me to the crown without going through that. It wants the glory and edits out the cost, the throne, the blessing, the abundant life, minus the suffering. This is the oldest move there is. It is Adam in the garden again, reaching for the crown of godhood without paying a cent for it, grabbing at a rule he was meant to receive only by a long and costly road. And it is everywhere in the church, dressed up as good news, a Christianity engineered for comfort, a Jesus who exists mainly to bless your plans and underwrite your best life, a faith that asks nothing and promises everything. Here is one of the plainest tests in this whole book. A Jesus who never asks you to suffer anything is a Jesus you made up. A crossless Christianity is a counterfeit every single time. Only the mirror again, smiling back, promising a crown with no cross attached. For the Real King did not get his crown that way. He got it the only way it has ever been given. Listen to the shape of it. He humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. Therefore God has highly exalted him. Philippians chapter 2, verses 8 and 9. Hear the hinge in that single word, therefore. The exaltation came on the far side of the cross. The throne was reached through the grave, not around it. This is the deepest law of the kingdom, and the precise reversal of Adam's grasp. The way up is down, and the crown is reached by the cross and by no other road. And the bride, who is being given his very mind, walks the road he walked. Paul does not soften it. We are heirs of God and fellow heirs with Christ, he writes, and then adds the clause we would so love to delete, provided we suffer with him in order that we may also be glorified with him. Romans chapter 8, verse 17. If we endure, he says elsewhere, we will also reign with him. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12. And Jesus has said it to anyone who would follow. Let him deny himself and take up his cross. And Luke adds the one word that turns it into a way of life, daily. Mark chapter 8, verse 34. Luke chapter 9, verse 23. Co-suffer, then co-reign. There is no other route to the throne, because there was no other route for the king. Now, I must be careful here in two directions because this teaching gets twisted both ways. The cross is not masochism. It does not mean going out to hunt for pain or treating misery as though it were holy in itself. Pain is not the point, and never was. The cross the bride takes up is the willingness to love at cost, to forgive when forgiving is expensive, to give when it leaves you with less, to serve people who will never thank you, to absorb a wrong instead of returning it, to die a little to your own comfort in your own way, today and again tomorrow. The love that wins the world and the love that costs you something are the very same love. You cannot have the first without the second. And hear this clearly, because the words have been wielded as a weapon. Take up your cross is never a command to lie down under someone else's sin. It is a call to die to yourself, not to submit to an abuser. The person who flees a hand that is hurting them is not refusing their cross. The voice that tells the wounded to just suffer quietly for Jesus is not the voice of the King. Dying to self is something you freely offer. It is never something another person is entitled to take from you. There is one more line I cannot blur, because everything depends on it. Your cross is not his cross. His was his alone. When Jesus went to the cross, he did something only he could do, and that never needs doing again. He rescued you, broke the grip of the powers that held the world, and flung open the door home. You do not repeat that. You do not add to it. You most certainly do not save yourself by your own suffering, as though piling up enough personal pain could purchase what he has already secured outright. His cross saves you. Your cross is something different and smaller and beautiful. It is simply the shape your life takes once it has been joined to his. You are being conformed to the image of his Son. Romans chapter 8, verse 29. And the Son is cross-shaped. So a life truly joined to him comes out cross-shaped too. His cross redeems, yours conforms. His you receive, yours you carry. With him, down the road he has already walked, toward the throne he already holds. And do not imagine you carry it by sheer heroism. The made-up mind would love to turn even this into a performance. Look how much I suffer for God. Martyrdom as one more achievement to be admired. That is only the old self again, building a monument to itself out of its own wounds. No, the strength to bear the cross is not summoned up from inside you. It is received like everything else in this book. When Paul begged God to take a particular pain away, the answer he got was not try harder, but my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. You do not grit your way to the throne. You receive, daily, the grace to carry what the day actually holds. And you discover the strange thing every saint discovers, that he is nearest and his power most real in precisely the place you are weakest. So, the road to the throne runs through the cross. There is no detour, and anyone selling you one is selling a made-up Jesus. But a cross is not a destination. It is a road, and a road, by definition, goes somewhere. This one runs to a wedding and a throne and a world made new, and that changes everything about how you walk it. The trouble is that the destination can feel impossibly far off. The cross is daily. The throne is not yet. The king promised to come, and the centuries stretch on, and the wedding is nowhere in sight. So how does the bride keep walking a hard road toward a day she cannot see? That is where we go next.